sir.
Tell me the last part which you had done in last class.
So we have completed the chapter units and measurement.
Okay. So we have to start with mathematical physics. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
In this part, I will define you some of the basic terms which you may have learned in your last classes. First is quadratic equation. Any expression like ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a not equals to 0 would be called as quadratic equation, or you may say if expression having degree 2 is called quadratic equation. So how to solve this part? You may have learned there are 3 different ways to solve this equation. First, by middle term splitting, second by quadratic formula, or third by completing square method. I'm defining you some concept regarding it. First, for middle term splitting method. In this part, first take product of first term, that is coefficient of x squared, and last constant term, that is c. So first, take product of a and c. Now, of this particular AC, factorize it and arrange the factor on the base of sign of this particular constant term. Now, take factor of AC. Let's say if you have A into C is equals to 12. So factor would be 1 into 12, 2 into 6, 3 into 4. That's it. So from 12 can be rearranged by these 3 different expressions. Now, on the base of sign of C, arrange these factors which equals to this particular middle term, that is B. So how to arrange would depend upon sign of C. First, if C is positive, arrange the factors in same sign of which equals to this middle term B. So arrange factor in same sign which equals to B. If C is negative, then arrange the factor in opposite sign which equals to middle term. So what do you mean by same sign and opposite sign? Same sign simply defines you positive positive or negative negative. It means you have to sum up the factor which equals to this middle term B. Opposite side means one term would be positive, the other would be negative. So you have to subtract these 2 terms which equals to middle term B. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just write it down. I'm giving you some problem regarding it.
Sir, can you say the last part once again?
That is sign of C, means the last part which is constant term. If constant term is in positive sign, you have to arrange the factor of AC in same sign. Same sign means positive positive, or it would be negative negative. For same sign, we'll add 2 different expression which equals to middle term according to the sign of C. Similarly, if C is negative, arrange the factor of AC in opposite sign. Opposite sign means one may be positive, the other negative. One may be negative, the other would be positive. So you have to subtract the factor of AC, which equals to middle term B. Is it
Yes.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Fawaz, any doubt?
No, sir.
Done, sir.
Done.
Fawaz,
Yes, done, sir.
try to solve. Find the value of X. Good, Ifram. Should I give you some hint? Was any difficulty while solving?
No, sir. No, sir.
Then
Sir, I couldn't hear you.
just check your calculations. Was just check your calculation. I'm giving you some hint how to solve this. Take the coefficient of x squared, that is 1 here, and last term, which is 6. So the product of a and c would be 6. So you have to take factor of 6. It would be 1 into 6 or 2 into 3. Is it clear, Alan? Now, check the sign of constant term, that is c part, which is minus 6. Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. So according to the rule, for negative value of constant term, you have to arrange the factor of AC in opposite sign, which equals to middle term, that is B. So in opposite sign means subtraction of the two term, which equals to middle term. Let's say if you have taken factor to be 2 and 3. So in opposite sign, let's say 2 is positive and 3 is negative. So minus 3 plus 2 will give you minus 1. If you take 2 to be negative and 3 to be positive, it will give you plus 1. But here we have 5 in middle term. Now, if you take this particular term as your factor, arrange these two terms in opposite sign. Let's say 1 in positive and 6 in negative. Plus 1 minus 6 will give you minus 5, which is just equals to this middle term. So we will write it as minus of 6x plus x minus 6 is equals to 0. So this will be your actual splitting. Fawaz, I think you have split this particular term like this. Minus 5x minus 6, which is equals to 0. And it will be minus of 2x minus of 3x minus 6 equals to 0.
Yes, but I took plus 3x.
If you take plus 3 and minus 2, it will give you plus 1x.
Yes, yes.
So either you take minus 2 minus 3, so that it equals to middle term, that is minus 5. But in this arrangement, here we have 3 negative term and just 1 positive term. For any of the splitting, just remember, it should be all of the term in same sign, that would be positive, 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 or all of the term would be same sign, negative, 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 or it would be in pair, 2 positive and 2 negative. To check how many terms are positive and how many terms are negative in this splitting, we have 3 terms in negative and just 1 term in positive. How can it would be paired? So this won't be possible. Is it clear?
Yes.
So this particular splitting is the correct one. Now take out factor from this part and this part, x from this, so it will be x minus 6. And if you take out plus 1, so it will be x minus 6 is equals to 0. X minus 6 is common from both these terms, so it will be x plus 1 is equals to 0. If you equate each term to be 0 individually, it will give you x is equals to plus 6 as your first solution and x is equals to minus 1 as your second solution. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Fawaz, do you have any doubt?
No, sir. No, sir.
Just remember this rule for all of your different quadratic equation terms.
Sir, done.
There is one more method using quadratic formula. This x is equals to minus of b plus minus root of d divided by 2 times a. where d is called discriminant, which is equals to b squared minus 4ac. This is called discriminant. So you have to put all the values of a, b, c in this part to get the value of d. Now put this value in this equation, you will get x directly. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
The next
Done,
part
sir.
in this, okay. Next part in this mathematical term is about series. Series is nothing but sequence of number in a particular arrangement. Say if you have 2, 5, 8, 11, and so on. Similarly, I'm giving some more term like 4, 8, 16, and so on. In these two arrangement, numbers are arranged in some special property. First, if you take difference of any two consecutive numbers, like this, 5 minus 2 is 3, 8 minus 5, 3, 11 minus 8, 3. So difference between any two pair is constant throughout this particular sequence or series. So you can call this as common difference, represented by d, which is equals to difference of consecutive number of this particular sequence. Now, on the basis of this, we have learned this particular term to be in EP or arithmetic progression. So how to calculate the nth term or last term of this particular sequence? It would be an is equals to an minus 1 times d. A is called first term, which is 2, or let's say you call it as a1 or a. Similarly, if you have to sum n by 2, 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Here n is number of term, a is first term, and d is common difference. Is it clear?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now check this particular sequence. If the difference between any two, between this and this and this, 4 minus 2 is 2, but 8 minus 4 is 4. Similarly, 16 minus 8 is 8. So difference between any two pair is not constant throughout it. So we can't say this is an AB. Okay? Now, if you take the ratio of between any two consecutive number, 4 divided by 2, 8 divided by 4, 16 divided by 8. So the ratio of each consecutive pair of this particular sequence is constant. So in say this particular term as common ratio. It is represented by small r, which is equals to ratio of two consecutive terms as a2 divided by a1 or a3 divided by a2 and so on. So this particular sequence, which is arranged on the basis of constant term get multiplied or divided each term, is called as GP or geometric progression, in which first term is 2 and common ratio is 4 by 2, that is also 2. So if you have to calculate nth term of this particular sequence, it would be a times r to the power n minus 1. And for sum of n term, it would be a r to the power n minus 1 divided by r minus 1. Now, if you have to calculate sum of infinite term, so it would be A divided by such. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So in physics, we have to use only this term more frequently. Just write it down. I'm giving you a problem related to this.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Try to solve. First, check whether this expression is in AP or GP, on the basis of which calculate common difference or common ratio. Now apply the formula. Try to solve. Good, Ellen. Just apply the formula. Try to solve. Good, Ifra. Good, Fawaz. Ellen, just send me your answer.
Sir, what should we find in this one? Sir, we can't hear you.
First term is A, that is equals to 5. You have to calculate R, that is common ratio. So it would be A2 divided by A1. A2 is called second term, which is 1 here. A1 is first term, which is 5 here. So it would be 1 over 5. Now apply this two term in the sequence for infinite sum. So it will be S infinity is equals to A divided by 1 minus R. Now put all the values in this equation, you'll get your answer. So A is 5, 1 by R, which is 1 by 5. So if we take LCM of this denominator, it would be 5 minus 1, 4 by 5. 5 will move into the numerator. So it will become 25 by 4. Is it clear, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Ifra, do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Now the next term in this mathematical physics is to define some trigonometry. Trigonometry is nothing but a relation between angle corresponding to its side for a particular spatial angle. I'm defining only for right angle triangle. But if you move in higher class, it would be applicable for all different triangles. So I'm limited to right angle triangle only. If theta is this, so opposite to this particular theta is called perpendicular. Adjacent to this particular theta is called base, and longest side of this particular triangle is called hypotenuse. On the basis of these sides and this particular theta, we have made 6 trigonometric ratios. First is sine theta, second is cos theta, and third is tan theta. Sine theta is perpendicular over hypotenuse, cos theta is base over hypotenuse, and tan theta is perpendicular over base. Now 3 more, which is reciprocal to these terms. Cosec theta, reciprocal of sine, so it would be hypotenuse by perpendicular. Sec theta, hypotenuse over base, and cot theta, base over perpendicular. Next is tan theta is equals to perpendicular by base, so it should be equals to sine theta divided by cos theta as well. And similarly for cot theta, which would be equals to cos theta divided by sine theta. I think you all have remembered this code. Okay, for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Sir, wait a minute.
Sir, done.
Sir, 1 minute.
Ellen, have you done?
Yes.
There is some identity related to these terms. First is called sine square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1. Sec square theta minus tan square theta is equals to 1. And sec square theta minus cot square theta is equals to 1. This trigonometric term, you have to calculate values. In 10th class, you have learned only 0 degree to 90 degree for all of this trigonometric function. But from here onward, you have to define values for any different angle related to multiple of those which we have learned in class 10. So I'm defining how to solve them. Values of some trigonometric term. First of all, for 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, and 90 degree. So right number from 1, from 0. So it will be 0, 1, 2, and 4. Divide each term by 4. So it will be and take square root of all. So this particular term will define you the value of sine of theta. 0 divided by 4, which is nothing but 0. So you'll say sine of 0 will be 0. 1 upon 4 square root will be 1 over 2. It will be 1 over root 2. Root 3 by 2. And then it will be 1. To find the value of cos theta, just reverse it. This 1 will move to this. So it will be 1. It will be root 3 over 2. 1 over root 2. 1 by 2, and this will be 0. To calculate the value of tan theta, just divide these two terms. You will get 0 over 1 would be 0, 1 over 2 and root 3 over 2. So 2 and 2 would cancel out. So you will get 1 over root 3. This will be 1. This will be root 3. 1 divided by 0, which is called infinity, or you may say not defined. I think you all have learned till this part in class 10. Okay. On the basis of this table, I'm defining you how to calculate some more angle beyond it, like sine of 120 degree, cos of 135 degree, 210 degree, 360 degree, and so on. Is it clear to you all till this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Amazing. Done.
Calculate further angle and defining some concept. Split quadrant or total 360 degrees in 4 different segments like this. Now, if you draw a triangle or right angle triangle in first quadrant, it would be like this. Let's say this will be your theta. Just remember, theta is always measured with respect to positive x-axis, and in anti-clockwise direction, it would be positive, and in clockwise direction, it would be negative. So, angle is always measured with respect to x-axis, or you would say positive x-axis. In anti-clockwise direction, it will be positive, and in clockwise direction, it will be negative. So here in this particular triangle, this is your positive x-axis, and this angle is going in anti-clockwise direction, so it would be positive. Is it clear? Now, how to define its different dimension? Let's say this is a base which will be along positive x-axis, so it will be positive. This is your perpendicular along positive y-axis, so it will be positive. And hypotenuse is nothing but square of sum of base and perpendicular, so it will be always positive. So you will say in first quadrant from 0 degree to 90 degree, the trigonometric ratio for all different angle would be positive. So you can say all are positive in this first quadrant, or you may write this first quadrant as from 0 degree Celsius, 0 degree angle to 90 degree angle. The values of all trigonometric ratio would be positive. Is it clear, Fawaz? But similarly, if you draw a triangle in this second quadrant, like this, let's say this is your theta. So this particular triangle would have base from origin towards left side, or you would say in negative x-axis. So it will be negative. Perpendicular is going along positive y-axis, so it will be positive. And hypotenuse is nothing but square of sum of these perpendicular, so it will be always positive. On the base of this particular triangle, I have just defined their dimension on the base of coordinate system. Base, which is along negative x-axis from origin, so it will be negative. Perpendicular is measuring along positive axis, so it will be positive. And hypotenuse is nothing but square of sum of base and perpendicular, so it will be always positive. Now just see in these three different terms, perpendicular and hypotenuse is positive, so the ratio containing perpendicular and hypotenuse would be positive, like sine theta and its reciprocal cosec theta would be positive in second quadrant. Similarly, it should be cosec theta. Similarly, if you define or draw a triangle in third quadrant, so tan theta and cot theta would be positive in third quadrant, and in fourth quadrant, cos theta and sec theta would be positive. Is it clear to you all till this part? How are you justifying in which quadrant, which trigonometric ratio would be positive? Alan, do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Was any doubt? I'm defining one rule how to remember this whole. So just remember this sentence. After school, to college. A first term, S first term, T first, and C first. A means all, S means sine and its reciprocal, T means tan and its reciprocal, and C means cos and its reciprocal. It means in first quadrant, all are positive. In second quadrant, only sine theta and its reciprocal would be positive, rest of the whole term would be negative. In third quadrant, tan theta and its reciprocal would be positive, rest of the whole term would be negative. And in fourth quadrant, cos theta and its reciprocal would be positive, rest of the whole term would be negative. Is it clear?
Yes.
Now, I'm defining you how to calculate different angle or values. You may write angle to each corresponding quadrant with respect to horizontal line or vertical line. I'm suggesting you to write only with respect to horizontal line, as in horizontal line there would be no change in trigonometric term. I'm defining you what does it mean. Let's say if you have to calculate angle in this first quadrant, this line would be called as 0 degree or 360 degree. So while going along this side, you will reach in first quadrant. This movement is in anti-clockwise direction, so it will be always positive. So you can write 360 degree plus theta or simply theta. But if you move along clockwise direction to reach in this fourth quadrant, in clockwise direction, angle would be measured in negative. So it will be termed as 360 degree minus theta for this fourth quadrant. Similarly, this is 180 degree. If you move along anti-clockwise direction, angle would be positive. So it will be 180 degree plus theta. And if we move along clockwise direction, angle would be negative. So it will be 1 degree minus theta. Is it clear to you all how I have just defined angle with respect to horizontal line for different quadrant? Fawaz, do you have any doubt to this part? Now remember one rule. On horizontal line, it means angle containing 360 degree or 180 degree will be termed as horizontal line. So you may say 180 degree or 360 degree. Then there will be no change in trigonometric function. So you'll say no change. Just write it down. I'm defining you how to calculate values according to this rule.
Done, sir. Done, sir.
Was have you done? If you have to calculate sine of 210 degree, solve it. First of all, write this particular angle with respect to either 360 degree or 180 degree upon its closeness. So you can say 210 is more closer to 180 degree as compared to 360 degree. So you will write it as 180 degree plus 30 degree equals to 210 degree. Now, in this particular splitting, you'll say this 180 degree will define you nothing but horizontal line. So this will tell you nothing but horizontal line. And as we know, by using this particular rule, on horizontal line, there would be no change in trigonometric ratio, so it will be same. So here we have sine, so it will be same as sine, and this particular theta as well. Now the next part is to define in which quadrant this particular angle would lie or this particular angle would lie. So you'll say it will lie in third quadrant according to this rule. 180 degree plus theta is lying along third quadrant or in third quadrant. So you'll say this must lie in third quadrant, and in third quadrant sine theta is negative. So just write it minus. Now, so it will be minus of sine 30 degree, which is equals to nothing but half. So in total, sine of 210 degree is equals to minus 1 by 2. Is it clear, Alan, till this part?
Yes, sir.
Ifra,
Yes, sir.
Fawaz, any doubt? Just write it down. I'm giving some problem regarding it.
Done, sir.
Try to solve these two equations. Alan, do you have any doubt while solving?
Sir, how do we solve this?
Good, Ifra. Alan,
Yes, sir.
should I solve?
Sir, I need a little help.
Okay, okay. Yoas, are you there?
Hello, hello, yes, sir.
Are you solving?
Yes, sir. I went for some work. That's
Okay, okay. Good, Ifra. Just see how to solve it. Write tan of 135 with respect to 180 degree. So it will be tan 180 degree minus 45 degree equals to 130. Is it clear, Alan? Now, in this particular splitting, this will tell you nothing but horizontal line on which there will be no change in trigonometric term. So it will be remain same, that is tan 45 degree. Now, this angle would lie in second quadrant where tan theta would be negative. So just write negative here. So into it will be minus of tan 45 degree. And as we know, tan 45 is 1. So it will be minus of 1. Is it clear, Fawaz?
yes, sir.
Similarly, you may write this cos of 120 degree as 180 degree minus 60 degree. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now this 180 degree will define you nothing but horizontal line on which there will be no change in trigonometric term. So it will be remain cos 60 degree. Now this angle would lie in second quadrant where cos is in negative. So just put negative sign. So it will be minus cos of 60 degrees equals to 1 upon 2. So you will say cos 120 degree is minus now. Similarly, if I ask you to define cos of 1 degree. So you may write this particular term as cos 180 degree plus or minus 0 degree. Is it clear? Ifra, can we write this? 180 degree as this. Now, this particular 180 degree will define you nothing but horizontal line on which there will be no change in trigonometric term. So it will remain cos. Either you move along positive side, so you will reach in third quadrant. Either you move along negative side, so you will move in second quadrant. In both third and second, cos theta would be negative, so it will be negative. And what we left with? Just 0, so it will be minus of 0 degree. And as we know, cos 0 is 1, so you will say cos 180 degree is minus 1. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Just
Sir,
remember this value. Yes, for us?
sir, it is positive also, right?
No. If you move along positive side, you will reach in third quadrant. As I have defined, this is your 1 degree. So if you move along anti-clockwise direction, along positive side, you will reach in third quadrant. But if you move along clockwise direction, in negative side, you will reach in second quadrant. In both second quadrant and third quadrant, cos theta would be negative. That's why I've written negative sign in front of it. Is
Okay.
it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down and remember this particular value.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Now you have to remember some special formula which will be termed as sum or difference. Let's say if you have sine A plus B equals to sine A times cos B plus cos A times sine B. Similarly, if we take sine of A minus B, it would be equals to sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. Now from this formula, write if A is equals to B is equals to just theta, in this first expression, you will get sine A, which is theta, sine B, which is also theta, so it will become sine 2 theta. And if you put A and B to be theta in this expression, you will get 2 times sine theta into cos theta. Now just see in this expression, here we have 2 theta, that would be just theta and theta. It means this angle would be half of this particular part. So if you write sine of just theta only here, it will be sine of theta by 2 times cos of theta by 2. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you have to remember cos of A plus B, it is equals to cos A times cos B minus sin A times sin B. Similarly, cos of A minus B is equals to cos A cos B and plus sin A sin B. Now, if you put A and B to be same angle, that is theta, it will be termed as cos A plus B, that is 2 theta. So it will give you cos square theta minus sine square theta. Now, if you break this particular term into two parts containing only sine or only cos, so it will give you cos of 2 theta is equals to cos square theta. But if you break this particular sign in terms of cos, it will become 2 times of cos square theta minus 1. Or if you move this one to the other side, you will get 1 plus cos 2 theta is equals to 2 times of cos square theta. Now suppose if you break this particular term only in terms of sine, you will get cos 2 theta is equals to this cos square theta on splitting in terms of sine will give you 1 minus 2 times of sine square theta. Now, if you move this term to this side and this term to this side, you will get 1 minus cos 2 theta is equals to 2 times of sine square theta. So just remember these two angles or these two relation. If you have 1 plus cos theta, it will be 2 times cos square theta. And if it is 1 minus cos 2 theta, it will be termed as 2 times of sine square theta. Now, if I've taken half angle of this particular part, it will give you 1 plus theta is 2 times of cos square theta by 2. Similarly, 1 minus cos theta is equals to 2 times of sine square. Is it clear till this part?
Yes, sir.
So just remember this part and this part. And these four formula, it will help you a lot in vector chapter. Just write it down.
Sir, which lesson is this?
I'm defining you some of the mathematical physics which will help you in later on chapters. Okay.
Sir, done.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
find one last relation of this particular trigonometric term. We have a triangle containing 3, 4, and 5 as their side. So corresponding to each side would be, let's say this is 3, 4, and 5. So corresponding to this 3, opposite to it would be termed as 37 degree. This is 4. So opposite to this would be 53 degree, and this will be your 90 degree. So just remember this spatial triangle in which if side is 3, 4, 5, so the angle opposite to 3 and 4 would be 37 degree and 53 degree respectively. Now the next step is if theta is very small, or you will say it is less than 10 degree, then tan theta equals to sine theta and equals to theta only, where theta is measured in terms of radian. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
So
I don't understand.
if you have theta, which is very small, or you can say it is less than 10 degree. So tan theta is equals to sine theta, and which in turn equals to theta only. But theta will be measured in terms of radian. So how to convert degree measurement into radian measurement? I have defined in this part. I'm explaining you once again. If you have angle, so we can measure this term into two parts or by two different units. First is degree measurement and second is radian measurement. For degree measurement, we may have sub unit or subdivision, just as 1 degree is equals to 60 minutes. Similarly, 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds. So this is nothing but minute, and this is nothing but second. So how to convert degree, minute, and second in terms of radian? I'm defining it. 1 degree is equals to 1.72 into 10 to the power minus 2 radian. Similarly, 1 minute is equals to 2.91 into 10 to the power minus 4 radian. And last, 1 second is equals to 4.85 into 10 to the power minus 6 radian. Just remember these three values to convert angle directly into radian measurement. Is it clear to you all till this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now suppose if you have to calculate sine of just 7 degree, is it small or large angle?
Sir, small.
So you'll say it will be just equals to 7, but you have to convert this angle in terms of radian. Here it is in degree. So how to convert it into radian? Just use first formula. 1 degree is equals to this much radian. So 7 degree is equal to 1.72 into 10 to the power minus 2 radian. Now multiply it. So you'll get 7 into 2, 14. 7 into 7, 49 plus 150. And 7, 1 times it will be 7 plus 4, 11 into 10 to the power minus 2 radian. This minus 2 exponential will move this decimal term to left side by 2 places. So it will be 0.1104 in terms of radian would be the value of sine of 7 degree. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Fawaz, do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Good. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Fawaz, have you done?
Done, sir.
Part is, and the most important part of this whole physics is calculus. Calculus is nothing but, you can say, mathematics related to any curve or straight line. Mainly have two different terms in this part. First is called differentiation or derivative. Second is called integration or sum up. So what do you mean by this differentiation and integration? I'm defining you. Let's say if you have curve like this. Now, if you have to calculate slope, inclination, rate of change related to this particular curve at any given instant. So how will you define it? So differentiation simply tells you to break this particular line into infinitely small strip, like this. In which width of the strip would be so small that it will tend to just zero only. It means this particular width will define you nothing but a single point. Now, if you draw a line passing through this particular point, it will define you tangent to this particular curve at this given instant. On knowing tangent related to this particular curve, you will define rate of change, rate measurement, slope, maxima, minima, and so many different applications of this differentiation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So on knowing this particular point, you will get inclination, tangent to this particular curve at this given instant. So differentiation is nothing but breaking down of a curve into infinitely small strip like this, for which if you calculate slope or change, I'm defining you, like this. It will have, or you will say, there would be a triangle at this particular point, like this, in which this would be your perpendicular, let's say delta y, and this will be your base, let's say delta x. And there would be inclination in between, let's say theta to it. So if you calculate slope, so it will be tan theta, which is nothing but ratio of perpendicular and base. Now I have just defined differentiation is nothing but splitting of curve into a infinitely small strip. It means the width of this particular strip would be very small as it will tend to just a point. So this change and this change, when tends to zero, it will be termed as dy. Is it clear to you how
Yes,
this
sir.
particular change transform to dy dx?
Yes, sir.
So differentiation is nothing but the relationship between two different variables, let's say y and x, the ratio or change in respect or in y with respect to x, so that you will calculate slope inclination of this particular curve at this given instant, be defined by using differentiation. Just write it down. I'm giving you some formula how to solve it.
Done, sir.
Alan, do you have any doubt till this part? So you will say differentiation is nothing but the ratio of change in y with respect to x such that change is infinitely small. Or in other words, you will say differentiation is nothing but process of division of a line or a curve to get slope, tangent, rate of change, or different applications of it. So you'll say differentiation is nothing but splitting of a curve into infinitely small segment. Ifra, is it clear till this
Yes,
part?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Alan, do you have any doubt?
1 minute, sir. I did it. Done, sir.
So let's stop here. In next class, I will define you different formula related to this differentiation, and then we'll start integration. And on completing, we'll start with the third chapter, that is motion in straight line, or you'd say kinematics. Okay,
Okay, sir.
let's revise this whole concept. We'll meet in next class.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.